My name's Lena Dunham, and I'm a filmmaker from New York City. I write and direct movies, and I've been doing it for 4 years now. I've made 2 features and lots of web shows, and I'm just kind of starting to work in TV, and I love what I do. Things in the entire landscape of films, like what it means to be a filmmaker, is completely shifting. That's something that I became aware of really fast. It used to be that you would hear stories about people get out of school, they make a short film, they take it to Sundance, it's a huge hit, suddenly they have a 3-picture deal with a studio, they are making the movies that they want to make, but on a bigger level, and that's the dream. And basically that career, I think this is a huge topic. Obviously, you're making a whole movie about it, so you know that. But I think that the entire idea of what your film career can be has shifted. Like, people ask me all the time whose career I admire and who my role models are. But the amazing thing is that most of the people whose careers I admire, admired when I was younger, like a Woody Allen or even a Noah Baumbach, or independent filmmakers who are getting to make really interesting kind of complex character studies on the studio level. Those aren't really careers that are possible anymore, because I think lots contributed to it. I think the biggest thing is financial, which is that there's that the money isn't rolling the same way it used to, and studios aren't willing to take risks in the same way. So the work that's getting made in Hollywood becomes more and more safe, and getting a movie made it's no longer just you have a good idea, you make a movie. There's people thinking, before you even begin to make a movie, people crunching the numbers about whether it would be a hit, and people are less and less willing to take chances. And also, it's harder all the new technology, there's something really wonderful about that, which is that anybody can go out and make a movie. Anybody who has $1,500 can buy a camera. Even if you don't, there's so many ways to make a movie. There's so many ways to distribute your film on the internet, there's a million different platforms. So that's all really good for people who want to express themselves, but it also makes it a lot harder to kind of break through all of the noise and get attention and, figure out how to move your career forward. So I think the whole thing's undoubtedly shifting, and also distribution, which is that people don't go to the movies in the same way anymore. So all of this new technology, while incredibly exciting for artists, is also the same thing that's making all the role models that we have for what a career as a filmmaker can be totally implausible. So I think that as a young filmmaker, it's really important to be aware sort of the benefits of this, but also of what you're up against. And I think that's been a huge part of why I've just made movies on my own up to this point, and haven't, when I had a script, people used to shop it around, try to figure out who wanted to make the movie, and now it's like, it's not a time anymore to wait to be greenlit. You want to make that choice. I never thought about filmmaking as a job that I could have. I loved movies, I loved writing, but it didn't ever occur to me that that was something that I could do with my life. And I think the moment that it did occur to me was when I started seeing the movies that were at South by Southwest in 2005, these movies people were calling mumblecore movies, that are small digital stories about, made by people my age, about people my age. And suddenly I understood, this is a different world, and it's possible for anybody to make a movie now. And that, to me, that was the thing that gave me confidence, because I don't like waiting around for people to give me permission to do things. I've never liked that, and I don't think I would have begun to become a filmmaker if it had required me to wait for the permission to do what I want to do. I think what Hollywood is trying to do is stay vital, because they're trying to, they now have to explain why what they're doing is more essential than what people can watch on the internet. Because people could entertain themselves for hours and days with work that has nothing to do with the Hollywood model. That being said, I think people will always want to see Hollywood films because it allows for a level of escapism and and fantasy and beauty that, a YouTube video never will. And that's why I love Hollywood films, and that's why I'll always watch them. But at the same time, I think that, but I do think that Hollywood also has to worry about how to cut through and get viewer attention, because it's so divided these days. Well, in terms of, this is going to be my first time releasing a movie and trying to actually make my money back releasing a movie. So it is important, for the first time ever, I've become concerned about I used to be like, yeah, whoever sees the movie, great. If it leaks on the internet, great. Like, I just want, people to see this and to get people's feedback and to have an audience. So this is the first time I've ever actually been concerned about what makes filmmaking financially sustainable. And if you made a small digital movie that's getting all of its play on video on demand, like, you hope that people will be respectful and want to actually pay for the movie, because that's the thing, is that all of this hinges on the idea that there's going to be some new financial model for consuming films. And if there's no financial model, if everybody's watching movies for free, suddenly people either aren't making money or everything has to be stuffed full of advertising, which would be a shame. Like, that's, for me, is like, Hulu, people love it because you're watching things for free and it's seemingly basically like totally no strings attached, pleasure viewing. But I really notice the fact that I'm seeing ads every 10 minutes, like, and being forced to watch them, and I resent it. And I hope that, obviously I understand that that's part of how we, make this financially possible, but I hope that people will pay to see my movies, because I hope that people won't have to see my movies chopped up into segments with ads stuffed down the middle. I realized the other night that I was watching a movie and reading a book at the same time. That's like sacrilegious. Like, that's crazy. Or more often watching a movie and checking my email, or watching a TV show and doing my work. I mean, we live in an incredibly attention deficit culture, and even if you just see the way the television's edited now, which is just like blam, 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 like great. Like, if I watched a reality show or something on MTV, like the way it's like a moment of footage cut together with a flashback, cut together with a graphic, like, people are not used to consistent attention on something. And that's really interesting, because now a lot of people want to distribute things on the internet, but people don't want to watch something that's 2 hours long on the internet. People want to watch something that's 3 minutes long so they can watch it when their boss is turned away from them at work, or like, something that's like where they can like be also like have porn open at the same time. I mean, whatever people do on the internet, it's not about like a strong desire to consume art. And that's what a creator is up against, which is they're kind of having to trick people into watching what they make. Right now, I don't think it's clear to me yet whether this is an exciting land of opportunity or, a challenging. I think any time that involves pioneering is hard. Like, when people have to go and like settle a new territory, like, the houses aren't built and the food's not there and you have to figure it out yourself, but at the same time you have the opportunity to create something really, really exciting. So I don't think there's a simple answer to sort of whether what the film industry is going through right now is positive or negative, but I think it's exciting, and I think it's creating opportunities for people like me to do this, to potentially get to make movies for the rest of their lives, which is also exciting. I never know, like, I feel like we're living in a time of great and extreme change and flux, but I once read a quote that said, like, every, artist always thinks that they're living on the edge of the apocalypse, like at any given time in history. So it's going to be really interesting to like look back in 10 years at this point and see if the film industry is kind of leveled out, and if there's a kind of a way things are happening, and if this incredibly fast rate of change stops, or if this is sort of the reality from now on, which is that we're so technologically savvy that things are constantly shifting and there's not really stable ground. I'm not sure about that.